Thank you so much, Amamitu. You are one of our regular participants on our session. I'd like to say a very big thank you from LSCTF. Thank you for always attending our sessions. I'm very sure um you learn a lot from all our sessions. We really appreciate you for always being here. Welcome everyone. So while we wait for others to join, because I can see that more people are still joining the session. Um, Please, I'd like to ask that you please fill the poll that's been displayed on your screen. Please kindly it won't take close to a minute of your time to fill the poll. We would like to get your feedback, as your feedback is important to us. You filling this poll, what it helps us do is helps us look at areas in which we can serve you better here at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund through our master classes and our advisory sessions. So please kindly feel. Would like to also say a very big welcome to those joining us on our LinkedIn pages, on our YouTube channel, and also on our Facebook page. We'd like to say a very big welcome to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're waiting for more people to join, but while we wait, there's a poll that's been displayed on your screen. Please kindly fill the poll. Please, can I get confirmation that we can see the poll so I'll know um whether to post the link to the poll in the chat box. So please, can I get a confirmation from our participants that you can see the poll that's been displayed on your screen? Please, I'd like to get a confirmation that we can see the poll, or do I drop the link to the poll in the chat box? I can see more people joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you on another session, on another masterclass. And today we're speaking about everything that has to do with project management, the fundamentals of project management for you as a business owner. So we've brought on here an expert that will be taking us through today's session. But just before we start, there's a poll that's been displayed on your screen. Please kindly fill the poll. Your feedback is important to us. We need to know how we can serve you better. Um, what manner of way can we serve you better? So please kindly fill the poll that's been displayed on your screen. Welcome, 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 everyone. I can see more people are joining. We'll be starting shortly. But while we wait, please kindly fill the poll that has been displayed on your screen. Good morning, Olushola. Welcome to today's session. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But while we wait for others to join also, please I would like to, hear from our attendees today. Where are you joining us from? Where are you listening to us from? Where are you joining this session from? Let us know what part of Lagos. And if you're also outside of Lagos, let us know where you're joining us from and what sort of business do you do? So you never can tell. This provides an opportunity for you to network with fellow business owners like yourself. So you can please drop in the chat box what part of Lagos or what part of Nigeria you're joining us from, or what part of the world you're joining us from, and also what sort of business you do. While we wait for people to join, I can see more people joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll be starting shortly. You're the ones that we've been waiting for. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on another masterclass session for today. And we'll be starting shortly. But just before we start, there's a poll that's been displayed on your screen. Please kindly fill the poll. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to get your feedback. As this serves as a way to know how we can serve you better through our master classes and our advisory sessions. Welcome, Ade Toba Oke from Lagos. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on today's session. Um, Please, can we get more people to let us know where you're joining us from this morning? Let us know where you're joining us from this morning on today's session. Welcome, Olushola. Welcome. Good morning. You're joining us from Ojokoro, yes, from under Koja local government. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on today's session. I believe there are more people that would like to know where you're joining us from. Thank you so much, Jimo Waris. Welcome, Jimo. Good morning. And thank you for joining us all the way from Kodu. Thank you. You're welcome to this session. You're welcome. You're welcome. Please, can we have more people fill this poll? We would like to hear from you. Please kindly fill the poll that's been displayed on your screen. Thank you, Damilola from Lagos. It's a pleasure to have you on today's session. So while we wait for more people to join, we'll be starting the session proper by 11:10. But while we wait, please can let us know where you're joining us from, Let us also know what you do. And so you never can tell this will form this will give you a platform where you can network with fellow business owners like yourself and see how you can connect. Thank you, Anifat. Anifat is joining us from Ikwaja, and she's a fashion entrepreneur that specializes in casual, semi-casual, custom-made, and ready-to-wear Afrocentric designs for business women and professional women. Welcome, Anifat. So if you're professional, if you are, I'm very sure not just professionals, I'm very sure even business owners too are professionals in their own way. So you can have an opportunity to reach out to Anifat if you'd like, if you'd like casual, custom made casual wears, Anifat will be on ground. I'm very sure Anifat will be on ground to offer you our services. Thank you, Anifat, for that. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us all the way from Ikwaja. Please, can we have more people? I'm very sure we have more people on this session. Please, while we wait, please, I can see more people joining. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you to those that filled our poll so far. Please kindly fill the poll displayed on your screen. We'd like to hear from you. Would like to get your feedback. It's very, very important to us. We'll be starting the session proper by 11:10. But while we wait for those just joining us, we're introducing ourselves. I am Omotayo Akinwumi. I am the Business and Project Support Officer at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting the session by 11:10 to those that are just joining us. But while we wait, people have started introducing themselves in the chat box. Let us know your name, where you're joining us from, and what you do. So, this might provide an opportunity for you to connect with fellow business owners like yourselves that might need a service or two from you. It also provides you an opportunity to network with other business owners like yourself. So please kindly fill the poll that's been displayed on your screen. If you cannot see the poll, please kindly let me know so that I can drop the link to the poll in the chat box. Let's check our other platforms to see those that are joining us on the other social media platform. So while we wait, please, we look forward to you filling in our poll that's been displayed on your screen. If you cannot see the poll, please kindly let me know so that we can know how to go about getting the link on the screen for you to be able to fill. So I'm checking through our other platforms to see those that are joining us on there. But while we wait, please kindly fill the poll that's been displayed on your screen. And we'll be starting shortly. So, I can see not many people are willing to introduce themselves, but welcome everyone. My name is Omotayo Akumi. We are at 11:10 right now, so we'll be starting the session proper right now. Good morning once again, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Today's session promises to be a very, very interesting session where you'd learn a lot about, many a times we hear project management, project management. Good morning, Omolola Akonji. Thank you for joining us for today's session. So we hear project management, and then we're wondering, okay, what does project management entail? Whether you like it or not, you as a business owner, you are a project manager yourself because you get to have a whole lot of things that you have to handle as a business owner. Now, you might want to get to know, okay, what are the fundamentals of project management? What does it entail? How can I apply it to my business? How can I apply it as a business owner? That is what we'll be taking you through today on today's session. Welcome, welcome. I can see more people have joined us while I was speaking. Welcome to today's session. My name is Omotayo Akeumi. Once again, I am the Business and Project Support Officer here at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And today we'll be speaking on fundamentals of project management for MSMEs. Um, but before we dive into the topic for today, this is the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund came into being through the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund Law of 2016. And one of the aims of bringing us into existence is to help reduce the issue of unemployment in Lagos State. Now, you might ask, how do we do that? We have various um, interventions and various programs that we have, you know, that we have in place to help um, tackle this issue of unemployment. And one of such is our flagship program, which is our loan program, where we provide access to finance to business owners in Lagos State. Now, if you like access to our loans, we operate a single digit interest rate, which is 9% per annum. And I'm very sure if you look through all of the, fast facility lending organizations all around you, there'll be just very few that you find that offer this rate. For example, I'm giving for example, if you're borrowing 800,000 naira, you're paying back 109,000 naira, and you are dividing 109,000 naira by 12. That is what you'll be paying back monthly. So, for example, so that is an example of what we mean by 9% per annum. So, if you fall under we have the MES, which is a micro enterprise startup for those that have acquired a skill and would like to start up their businesses but don't have the means. You can have access to 50,000 to 250,000. If you have an existing business that you'd like to, obtain a facility for, you can get from between 50,000 to 500,000. But if your business is registered and you'd like to, you know, acquire a facility, you can get from between 500 and 1,000 to 5 million naira. Now you might ask, what are the requirements? You'll be needing your LASTRA, your tax, your bank statement, you'll be needing your NIN, your BVN, your ATM, and you also be needing your 6 months bank statements. These are the requirements that you'll be needing for our loan programs. But if you fall under the SME, which is the one above 500,000, alongside all these documents, you'll also be needing your CAC certificate that shows that your business is registered. These are the various loan programs that we have on offer. We also have our capacity building programs under the business and project support unit, where we have our master classes, our advisory sessions, our loan readiness sessions that we also hold for those that are interested in our loans. We also let you know these are the things that you need, these are the things that we'll be expecting of you. So these are the various programs we have on offer. We also have our free business registration. We have our access to markets, where we bring together business owners in sort of a trade fair mode to come display their products and have people come buy from them, and it's all free. So if you are a business owner that you're looking for such trade fair to exhibit your products at, we have one coming up next week. It's going to be starting from the 30th to the 1st of August. And you can go to all our social media handles. It's there. So you can click on the link to register, indicate your interest to be a participant at the Access to Market event. We also have our fashion training currently ongoing. So if you have words that within or you are within the age of 18 to 35, you'd like to learn fashion design and the likes, we have a training currently ongoing. You can also go to our website, but I'll also drop the link in the chat box for those that are interested, or you have words that might be interested in such programs. You can click on it to indicate your interest, register, and then we'll reach out to you. Note all our programs are for those that are residents in Lagos. So if you are resident in Lagos, you have the opportunity to benefit from our programs. We also have our employability programs where we have training skills. If you're within the ages of 18 to 35, you like to acquire skill in fashion, barbing, and the likes of all this kind of training, construction, um, um, HVAC repair, and the likes. We even currently have a program currently ongoing with our employability team. So please go follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on X, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. Follow us on all of these social media platforms. Check out, look, be on the lookout for all of these programs so you don't miss out on any one of them. Then, like I will always say, please turn on your post notification. Now, what this post notification does for you is when we have all of these programs available, you are not the last to, get to know about it. You get the information firsthand because as we are posting, you're able to know, okay, yes, this is the program that's currently on offer. This is a program that's currently not on offer. We also have our Lagos Innovate unit that's in charge of everything tech. So if you're in the tech space, you're a female founder, you have budding tech ideas that you like to bring to life and the likes. We have our Lagos Innovate unit are in charge of all of this. So thank you so much. We have with us today Madam Consola Talabi. Now, Consola Talabi is a program and project management professional with over 15 years of experience leading multi-stakeholders initiatives across the creative, cultural, and entrepreneurship sectors. She has managed major projects, including the African Movie Academy Awards and the Kuramo Festival of Words, where she led program delivery, partnerships, operations, and stakeholder engagements. She's passionate about developing people and organizations. She also serves as a volunteer facilitator and mentor with the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund and the Faith Foundation, equipping entrepreneurs with practical skills in business growth, well-being, and project execution. She's committed to helping individuals turn ideas into well-planned and impactful projects. Please can we welcome Madam Onikosola Talabi as she takes us through today's session. Thank you, Madam Monica. Please, you can go ahead with today's session.
Thank you, Tayo. Good morning, everybody. How you doing on a cloudy Lagos day? Hoping that it doesn't rain. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you can see me. I'm glad to be here with you today. One of the things that that wasn't said in my bio is that I'm an entrepreneur. I started a female-only studio in Lagos many years ago. At that time, it was the only female-only studio, fitness studio. I don't know if there's another one. But and I ran that for like 10 years, and then I had to evolve. But before that, I have an MBA in business. And after that, I did the Prince 2 projects in controlled environment training. So that was where I got my initial thrust into project management. And then I also trained in Agile and the Agile method of training of project management as well. There are two very different modalities. So everything I'm sharing that I'm going to share today is coming from, a fusion of both and the things that I've also experienced in Lagos as an entrepreneur and also managing projects that I initiated myself. I used to run an eco-wellness festival or fair, and then projects that I've worked on, like the AMA Awards, the African Movie Academy Awards, and the Kuramo Festival Awards. So before we jump in, my well-being side of me is kicking in, and I'd like us to just do a little release of tension, because I'm sure some people may have had one or two issues this morning or stresses this morning just to be able to get to this moment. So wherever you are, I'll just encourage you to just sit up tall in your chair And I want you to just roll your shoulders. Our shoulders tend to get a lot of tension, store a lot of tension. So just roll your shoulders. Roll it up and down, back and forth, and just feel the tingles leaving your body. Whatever tingles are rising, that's just tension leaving your body. Okay, come to a stop. I want you to just shake your hands. Shake your hands. You can also tap your feet gently on the floor, just up and down, to just release tension there. And then very gently come to a stop. Okay, now I want you to bring your right hand, bring it across your chest so you're feeling your heartbeat. And let's just take a few breaths in together. So, can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, I just realized that you could. I was checking if you could hear me. Okay, so bring your hand across your chest, and then let's take in a few breaths together. I want you to breathe in gradually through your nose, then you hold it, and then you breathe out gently through your mouth. So let's do that together. So you breathe in, let's go. Inhale, hold it, and exhale through your mouth. Let's do two more. Breathing gradually through your nose. Feel your ribs expanding, hold it, and breathe out. Let's do last one. Breathing gradually. Inhale deep. And exhale. Beautiful. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears and your shoulders down. Beautiful. And I'd like us to just set an intention for this session. So just, again, hand across your chest and just think of what you'd like to achieve from this session. Omota has shared a lot about she shared some about what the session is about and about what the Employment Trust Fund does. So just think for one moment what you'd like to gain from this session. Hold on to that thought, and we'll take a breath together on it. So think of what you like to gain. What's your intention? My intention is that I'm able to deliver smoothly to you and that you're able to pick up a few things that you can implement in your businesses. Now let's take a breath in together. Inhale and exhale. Okay, beautiful. So I am now going to share my screen. I trust that everyone can see my, okay, let's do that. I trust that everyone can see my screen. Can see it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of project management. What we're going to cover in our time together is I'll talk about what is a project and the core mindset that you should have as an entrepreneur that is also a project manager. And also we'll talk about the stages, the playbook for managing projects. And then we'll touch on some tools and how you can map projects based on your business size. And then if we have enough time, we'll do a little task, and then we'll take Q&A. We're going to Q&A. So I'm going to start with, we start at the very beginning. We're going to start with what is a project. I know, like Omota said, we're always hearing projects, this project, that project, but really, what exactly is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor. It's something that you get into for a short period of time. It's not your business. It's not your regular business. It's not your regular day to day. It has distinct markers. It has a start date. And it has a defined end date, and it has a unique goal. So like your business may have a start date, the date you started your business. You have goals for your business, but you don't necessarily have a specific end date for your business. So a project comes up within, let's say within your business, because we're all business people here, it comes up within your business and it would have a specific start date and it would have a specific end date, and then it would have the unique goals that you are trying to achieve. So if you think about your business, every day you're running your basic operations, there are things that you're doing every day. However, if you want to, let's say, launch a new brand, a new product for your brand, or you want to open a new shop, or a customer calls you. A couple of people said that they're into fashion. So a fashion house calls you and says that they want to order, let's say 50 dresses for you to deliver to a specific place. Now, those are projects. It's not business as usual. It has a clear beginning and it has a hard finish. And so the question then becomes, okay, so we've defined the project. So the question now becomes, why do we need to manage a project? Well, it's very important that we manage projects because I was going to say in a place like Nigeria, but it's actually not in a place like Nigeria or in Lagos. Anywhere at all, things go wrong. Anywhere that you have humans, anywhere that you have machines, anywhere that you even have the weather, things go wrong. And the idea and the reason for managing a project is so that you can systematically reduce the risk of things going wrong. It makes sure that when you're managing a project, when you're managing a project means that you're able to mitigate any failure points. It means that you are looking at which you're going to see, you will go through, you visualize the whole project, and then you now think about everything concerning that project, even before you start. And that is because you want to reduce whatever risk that are there or whatever problems that could come up. You want to make sure that you don't lose money. As business owners, we don't want to be losing money. And so you're always having milestones. You are looking at what depends on what action depends on what, so that if you can see that this one is weak, or you're already putting plans you're already now thinking of how it is that you can mitigate those problems. You are able to plan towards a particular, the deadline or the finish date of the project. You're able to plan towards that. And so it helps you to be more prepared. That's really what it's about. Project management is about being prepared. It's about showing up prepared. Like I said, things always try to go wrong. The prices will fluctuate. Your suppliers can delay. NEPA may go out in the middle of your production, and your generator may burst. And also, what are you going to do? Your client is not going to be waiting for your excuses. They're not going to look forward to it. So we're not trying to pretend that problems don't exist. What we're trying to do is to be prepared that when the problems do happen, that you're not panicking, you're not losing money, and that you're able to respond in a structured, pre-planned way, because you already have your your plan B, plan C, plan D, and also that you're able to manage not just your time and your money, also your business reputation, because it's also very important the kind of impressions that you leave as leaders for your team and also for your customers as well, for the people that are watching you. And so there's a core mindset that is required for as a project manager, especially as an entrepreneur who is also a project manager. As you know, running business in Lagos is tough, and things can get you as an entrepreneur. You can get stuck in trying to quench fires. You're like firefighting all the time, and you're thinking for your teams, you're thinking for the customers. You are literally like the all in all of the business and all. And so when you're trying to also manage projects within that, you have to be able to separate what operations are and separate what projects are, so that you're able to manage both efficiently without you getting thrown off. So let's first separate what business operations are and also what projects are. If we are not able to separate that, then we'll end up mixing up routine business, routine business operations with projects that are there to facilitate strategic growth. If you think about it, projects are actually opportunities to facilitate strategic growth. You are taking on this client, this bulk order. It's a strategic growth for your business. You're opening a new branch. You are doing a market launch for a product, or you are conducting a marketing campaign, or you're applying to the employment fund for resource. They're going to ask you resource for what? And you need to be able to show them specifically what it is that you want to do with the resource and how it is that you're going to execute that. So your operations, as you know, those are your daily repetitive routines. So if you run a bakery, that's the every day we're mixing flour, every day we're baking bread, every day we'll take, after we bake the bread, we'll take it to the people that are going to sell it for us. So you have a routine, and hopefully you also have a document, so that when you have new people that come in, you just give them the document. They already know the step-by-step of how it is that we operate in this business, and people can just follow you like that. Those are things you do day in, day out. Like I said about projects, they are your temporary endeavors. They are unique. And one of the things that makes it unique, that makes your projects unique, is because it's a new activity. Sometimes you'll need to get new people that are not necessarily your team. You have to get new people to come and work with you on it so that you can deliver your project. So it's a temporary endeavor. It has a definite start date and a definite end date and a unique goal. It creates infrastructure for tomorrow. Like I said, it's about strategic growth. So if you are setting up let's say you're setting up a new kiosk let's say in Ikeja. So you're a bakery, you're opening up a new kiosk in Ikeja. So you are going to, for your project, you first go and look for the space, then you pay with for the space, and then all the things that have to do with the project, with the launching of the space. Bearing in mind that you're doing this while you still have your first kiosk where you already bake from. This is now you growing. And so you're going to handle that as a separate project while your business is operating. And so for this new kiosk launch, you found the space, you've paid for it, you're now working, you're doing the interior, you're getting all the equipment in place, and then you have a date that you're going to now start operating from there. All of that whole process is a project. And so you have to think about it, you have to plan it out from, and so if let's again following the same example of you're opening a kiosk, you have to, before you go out and start looking for a place, you have to first think, what kind of place do I want? What kind of location should it be in? What should it look like? What is it going to serve? What kind of operations will flow from there? What do I need? Where do I get the money? How much will it cost? All of that feeds into this specific launch that you need to do. And so you need to have, it's very important that you understand that your project must have a deadline. You must have a deadline. If not, you will fall, it ends up becoming an operations and you're just going on and on and on. You're just dragging, you're not planning properly. So it's very important that you're able to separate your business operations. You're selling bread every day, you're selling groceries every day, you're managing customer service, you're fulfilling your routine orders, you're paying your rent. Those are routine. But a project is that temporary endeavor where you are maybe expanding, you're fulfilling an order, you're launching a market campaign, and the primary objective of managing this is to reduce the things that could go wrong, is to be able to manage your time properly, manage your mental capacity or your mental energy also as an entrepreneur, because you have many things that you're working on. And also, when you know that, when you've already mapped out everything concerning this particular endeavor that we want to go on as an organization, you are able to like put it in a box, and everything it is that you need concerning it is within that box. I hope that makes sense. So what are the core? So there are three core skills that you as an entrepreneur, as the leader of this project. So even if you decide that, let's say you have a medium-sized organization, you have up to 5 to 10, 15 employees working with you, and you assign somebody else to be the project manager, you are still the project owner. You still own the project. So even though somebody is now dealing with the day-to-day of it and making sure that everything that you have planned, all your objectives come together, you are still the owner of that project. They still have to give you regular reports, regular updates. And so there are certain skills that you must have, even if you're the owner or you're the project manager yourself. So one of them is organizational and time management. You need to be able to keep track of multiple moving pieces at the same time without letting critical deadlines slip away. So you must know, like, if you have a delivery of 50 dresses to a client, there's a day that the client wants those dresses by. That's your clear deadline, right? And so there are critical milestones. If you're supposed to deliver the clothes by Friday, if by Wednesday we haven't put in all the buttons on the dresses, or we have not sewn in all the zips, or we don't even have the zips, and the supplier doesn't have the zips, that's a problem, right? And so you should be able to track those, make sure that we should have the zips at least 2 weeks before the day, and also that we know that we are aligned and the deadlines are not missed. Another important, so organizational and time management is key. Another very key thing is people management. You are, as you know, as an entrepreneur, you are managing you're really managing people. As a manager, you are managing people. You're managing customers, you're managing your team. And that's also what is happening within your project as well. You are managing people. And so you need to be able to understand the different personalities. You need to be able to understand, and then not only understand the different personalities, you need to be able to match them to specific skills. So if you know that you have someone that is very outgoing and cold, that kind of person would be in the space of handling customers and, would be more customer facing and or managing stakeholders. So you need to know where your team members where their skill sets lie, and then matching them to specific tasks, and then knowing how to ginger everybody. You need to know how to motivate everybody, which is something that as a business owner managing teams, you're already doing, I hope. And then another critical thing is problem solving. And that's where you walk backwards comes in. So from the end date from your deadline to your start date, you are walking backwards as to everything that you need from that delivery date all the way to your start date. You should be able to visualize. You should be able to think analytically, so you can analyze problems. You can envision problems before they even happen. And this is something that if you are working from it backwards, from your deadline date all the way back to your start date, it helps you to visualize those problems. And it also helps you, and this helps you to think 2 to 3 steps ahead of every current task that you have at hand. One of the things, a way that I like to describe this when I'm teaching young people about project management, young creatives, is I bring it down to even daily tasks. So now, personally, everything that I do, I just sort of have a project management mentality to it. If I'm going for a party, it's a project. And from the shoes, I would think about the kind of party it is. If it's an Owambe in one place and I don't have a car, okay, how am I going to get there? Because I'm not driving my car, what kind of shoes will I wear? If I wear high heels for too long, my feet start to hurt. Okay, so what kind of shoes will I wear for this? Because I'm not driving, I can't take slippers with me. So I'm already thinking about all the different scenarios, the things that could come up. That could come up, and that would affect me having a great time while I'm out. If you want to cook like a special plate of jollof rice, that's a project, right? So you're already thinking, I want to cook jollof rice on Sunday. What do I need to cook that jollof rice? And so because you're having friends come around. Okay, so I need XYZ you have to come up with your ingredients list, the day that you're going to go to the market. You do all of that, and then you're also thinking, because you have friends coming to eat that jollof rice with you. You've already also planned how am I going to serve this food? Where are we going to sit? How are we going to sit? These are the people that are coming. Okay, how are we going to sit down? I don't want Lagbaja to sit down beside Lagbaja because those two don't get along type thing. Those are the kind of things that you should be thinking about. You're analyzing it even before the problem comes up. You have XYZ number of plates, but you have 10 plates, but you have 15 people coming. So you already know that you have a shortfall of plates. And so you have to get more plates to be able to mitigate that discrepancy. That's what thinking backwards and analyzing the steps helps you to achieve. So on that day, you're appearing like a superstar. When there's a problem, you just bring forth the solution because you've already thought about it. So that's the core mindset that you as an entrepreneur has to have. You need to shift from that entrepreneurial operations mindset to a targeted box thinking for this particular project, that's particular endeavor that you are working on. You put everything into this box so that as you need it, you are pulling it out. So now there's a playbook for projects. There are stages to every project. Regardless of the scope, it must move systematically through certain phases, right? And when you skip a phase, it's going to it's likely going to it's going to cost you later. Habiba, you have your hand raised.
So please, Abiba, you can drop your question in the Q&A box. We will attend to it. Um,
at the
so um,
Q&A.
yes, we will attend to the Q&A. And please, it seems the slides is still just on the first slide and it's not moving.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So we're still on, what is it, on fundamentals of projects?
Yes.
What about now?
It's still not moving.
Right. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Okay, let's redo this. I'm going to stop sharing and then let's redo. Okay. Okay, let me stop that. Sorry about this. Sorry, I'm not looking for where to, just one moment. Okay, so now what are you seeing? What slide are you seeing?
So we're seeing the page that says we'll cover one, what is project and the core
Okay.
mindset.
What
Yes.
about now?
What is a project?
Perfect. Okay, so back on track then. Okay, so this is the what is a project slide. Um, I don't need to do a recap, do I?
No, I think you can just continue.
Okay. You can see the why manage project slide.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I've talked about the core mindset, operations versus projects, and also the three core executive skills that you need as a project manager who's also an entrepreneur. So now we're going into the playbook of the stages within project management. The first stage is conceptualizing your project. So like I said, your project it has a start date and it has an end date. It's very specific. It's a temporary endeavor. Trying to remove this thumbnail. Sorry. Okay, so it's a temporary endeavor. And so before you move on your project, you're opening a new kiosk in Ikeja. Before you move on that, you have to first, like I said earlier, you have to first visualize, what is this about? Why do we need to move to Ikeja? Why do we need to open a shop in Ikeja? What is that shop going to do? Who is it going to serve? It's almost like a business plan, but it's not a business plan. In project management, we call it your project charter. And your project charter it's a one pager as to why are you doing this. It covers your what, when, why, who, how much, and when. It covers all of that, right? So you're writing down, why are we doing this? What does success look like? Who do I need to partner with to make this happen? Then, and this is used just even visualizing. You haven't started writing anything yet, right? You're just conceptualizing it. Who do I need for this? Who are the partners that I need for this? Who are the team members that I need for this? Who do I need to bring on board to help me pull it off? Like I said, then you'll also be thinking, okay, the end date, this is what we're doing on XYZ day. Okay, from that day, what are the things that need to happen so that I can make that deadline? That's how you come up with your task list. So after you've now conceptualized and you're now initiating, you now start writing down. You get your sheet of paper, you get your wall thing. What's that thing that you write on your wall? You start to write down your plans. You start to write down all the things that need to happen for you to hit the goals that you have now set for yourself or for this project. So you write your deadline. This is the day we need to deliver, and all the steps that need to happen before that date. You write them down. After writing down all the steps that need to happen, who are the people that I need to make this happen? You write them down as well. How much do I need to make this happen? You write it down. What are the things that can delay me or can affect me hitting this deadline? You write all of those down as well. You now start to assign. So, okay, you've written down all your tasks. You've written down the possible team members. You now start to just draw lines, connect people as in, okay, Moji can do this, Kemi can do that. You start to align people to the task that you have for them. This is still you. You haven't pulled anybody else on board. You are still just conceptualizing the project, right? You're still noting it down and scoping it. This is the scope of it. These are the things that need to happen. These are the things that I can do. You can do personally. The things that you can assign someone else to do. Even in that process of the things that you can do, you also want to remember that you have a business that is going on, that is operating daily. So if you are not going to be able to be present at your business daily, do you have a manager, someone that can step in to cover the business for you while you are managing this project? Or do you have someone that you will assign to the project so that you are in operations mode in the business? All of that you are going to write down in your project charter. Your project charter is like your brief. It's like the brief of the project, which you should share with your team. When you have your team in place, you should share your project charter with them so that they understand what it is that we are doing, how long it is that we're doing it for, especially if you're pulling in people from within your organization, just so that they don't think that Oga is pulling us into extra work and we're not getting paid overtime. Is this now part of my workload and I don't know when the end date is? If you let them know that this is for a specific period of time and this is what you're supposed to do, it's very clear to people what it is that they're to do. Everybody knows what their achievables are or their deliverables are. And also the business objectives. You need to also be clear as to what the business objectives are. How does this impact your business? How does it help your business scale? How does it improve the reputation of your business? You have to write all of those down as well so that you're keeping your vision clear and your mission clear, and so that things don't get muddled up between your business and your regular business operations and your project as well. Like I said, we're having a box for this project. Okay, slide not moving. Okay, so once we have now conceptualized and started initiating, remember that's still you by yourself. It's now a what do we want to do, or how are we going to do it? And this is now where you are planning. This is your planning stage. Okay, how are we going to do this grand concept that we now have? We want to open kiosk in Ikeja. How are we going to do it? And you've written down all the different things that you want to see happen. And but this is now the actually, how is it going to happen? This is where you build your actual operational roadmap of how we're going to get things done. This is where your project plan comes together. You have a business plan, and now you have a project plan. And without a plan, you really just would be guessing. Like they say, failure to plan is a plan to fail. So for your project, you want to plan it. Like I said, your planning is not because you don't want anything to go wrong. Yes, we don't want anything to go wrong, but trust me, things always go wrong. But if you have a plan B, plan C, then you are able to move quickly, and people might not even notice that, oh, that was a mistake, or that was a plan B. They'll just think that this was plan A all along, right? So when we're now in our planning stage, I'm sure everybody has heard about the SMART writing, setting SMART goals. It's very important that we have SMART goals, SMART objectives. We need to make sure that they are specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, they are realistic, and they are time bound. So it's not I need to, okay, the example I have here is shoes. It's not I need to make more shoes this month of July, or I want to increase my sales, or I want to increase the number of customers that I have. It's I want to produce 500 more shoes by the end of July or August. So you're very specific about the quantity that you want to create and when it is that you want to create it. And what this does for your team is that it helps them to know exactly what success looks like. So if we've set a goal of 500 shoes, or we're to deliver 50 dresses by XYZ date, but you're only able to produce like 450 shoes or 25 dresses, you already know that you didn't hit the goal. You didn't hit your mark. And also it's very clear. And it's very important that you have that clear. Another thing is scope. For when you are planning, you need to be clear as to the scope, right? Because that's where your profit margins will fit in. It's writing down exactly what is included in the project. You should also write down what is not. Because, a thing that happens is scope creep, where things will just start creeping into your project, and then you'll be like, you start to lose sight of what it is that you are supposed to do. Even as a project manager, you should have your own scope for each person. Everybody knows what it is that they are supposed to do, so that the guy that is in marketing is not now creeping on the guy that is in administration. Admin is not creeping on marketing. Everybody knows what it is that they are supposed to do, and everybody is clear on what it is that they are supposed to do. So like if a client comes to you and says, okay, I want 50 red dresses and they need to be knee length. And then you've already come up with your budget, you've already given them, and then later on, as you started initiating, they'll come and say, actually, instead of knee length, can we have it ankle length? That's already creeping into your scope, because ankle length and knee length, that's different fabric. That's more fabric that you are going to need. That's you remeasuring the dress or the skirt, so that's how you want to. So you have to be mindful about that. A scope creep can be that, okay, we're supposed to make 500 units of shoes. We've agreed that we're making 500. And then a week down the line, you come back and you say, actually, let's make 550. You're already increasing the scope of you're already increasing the scope. And that is a problem, because it impacts everything. It impacts the time, it impacts your resources, it impacts everything. And so you have to be mindful and be firm that for this particular project, for this particular endeavor, we are only doing 500 shoes that we're going to deliver by XYZ date, or we're only delivering 50 knee length dresses by XYZ dates. If you are wanting them to be longer, that's a different scope altogether. That can be a whole different project altogether. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the creep, because that's a big thing that happens on projects. Another thing that you're also doing during your planning is your resource mapping. We've talked about all the different people that we need, all the different variables and stakeholders within your project. So you are delivering dresses, you have to sew dresses, you have to think about who we are going to supply, who we are going to buy your fabric from. And so that resource mapping is not just who I'm going to buy from, who are my suppliers, who are my vendors. In that space, you're also planning for a plan B and a plan C in case your initial supplier or vendor is not available. In this, your planning stage, you're already having 2 or 3 other suppliers that are your backup. If you need 50 dresses, or if you need to make 50 dresses, so you need a particular kind of fabric. If this fabric is not available, what's your plan B? If it's not enough for 50, it's in this your planning stage that you would already source that. Does my supplier have enough, or do I have enough fabric that can make 50 dresses? If I don't have enough fabric to make 50 dresses, or if my supplier doesn't have enough fabric for me to make 50 dresses, is there another supplier that can have the same, that would have the same fabric? Is this fabric in the market? If it's not in the market, let's say the dresses are supposed to be red. If it's not in the market as red, but available as blue, at this point in time is when you are contacting your client. You come back to your drawing board. Can blue work? And in that place, you're changing scope. But can blue work? This is where you're having that conversation. Or do I need to have XYZ number of people maybe that this person only has fabric for 30, another person has for 10, another person has for 20. It's at this stage that you discover all of that and you also note it down. At this stage as well, you are budgeting. How much does each thing cost? How much does each thing cost? You want to know, how much will the buttons cost? How much will the zip cost? How much will the dresses cost? How much am I paying the tailors that are going to work on this? If it's a new kiosk you're planning, what does this new location cost? What do I need to renovate it or to put it in the way that I want it to be? What does the furniture cost? All of that needs to be put within. You have to create your budget. You also have to also create your checkpoint or your milestones that XYZ has to happen. And in all your milestones has to do with if you're delivering, let's say you're delivering by the end of August. There are certain things that need to happen, that need to have happened by certain dates for you to meet your August delivery date. So if, let's say, you are delivering end of August, by the 1st of August, depending on how large your team is, you should know that, okay, at least I must have my fabric in place. And then by the time I have my fabrics and my zips and all of that in place, all of that then feeds into when the tailors can start, when the person that is cutting can start cutting, when the tailors can start sewing, because there are certain tasks that depend on other tasks to happen. And then all of this feeds into the milestones, as in, okay, by the first week of August, we have all our fabrics, we have all the different inputs that we need to make this dress, we have those in place. And it's always good to have it on a board, somewhere, something that is visual, where people can see. You can see it very clearly that, okay, by 1st of August, we need XYZ to have done. This is separate from your task list. So this is now your milestone. So you have your task. Everybody knows these are all the different tasks that need to happen for our project to happen. Buy fabric, call supplier, buy fabric, buy zips, buy buttons, blah, 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 blah. Then your milestones are now by first week, cutter has cut all the fabric. By 2nd week of August, tailors have started sewing the fabrics. So you're now having your milestones that are aligned to your task that all feed into your delivery date. And all of this will have a cost beside it. How much does X, Y, Z cost? And you have to be monitoring that cost. So you have called your supplier when you are planning and they've given you the cost. You have to write all of that down because that then feeds into your budget, and that then decides your budget. If you have the money, if you have to go raise the money, all of that feeds into how quickly you can deliver your project. If your project is a to go, let's launch, let's move forward. And also it's very important that you have all of this, and in all of this you're again thinking 2 steps forward and also thinking 2 steps backwards. From your delivery date, you're thinking 2 steps backward, and then from each step that you're thinking 2 steps forward, so that you are planning accurately and you are budgeting accurately. Your plan, your goals must be specific, they must be smart, your objectives must be smart. So I talked about scope creep. Now, scope creep is very, very, very important. It happens a lot. It happens a lot on projects. I know where so as a project as a project manager on some of the projects I've worked on, they will ask me that, okay, as a project manager, I'm here to oversee everything and make sure that all the teams are talking together, everybody understands what it is that they're supposed to do. But for sometimes as a project manager, a scope creep for me would be when they would be asking me to pay for the social media boost. That's a scope creep for me. That's not that's not my purview. That's not for me to do. And so I need to then come back and say, okay, this is out of my scope. And because it is out of my scope, it's going to cost me time. And there's also a cash implication to it as well. So bringing that back to this, if this triangle that we're looking at, this scope triangle that we're looking at, it also dictates your profitability, right? Because it affects, it dictates the impact of your project. Because if any of these things gets moved, then it's going to affect your delivery. If your dress was supposed to be, the deliverable was supposed to be knee-length dresses, and they've now turned it to ankle-length dresses, it's going to impact your budget because you have to buy more fabric. It may mean that the person that is cutting, if they have already even cut it, then that's even more fabric that they have to now recut. If you are supposed to make 50 dresses and they come back and they say, the client comes and changes scopes on you and says, okay, actually I want 60 dresses or 100 dresses, that impacts your time, and it also impacts your budget. And it's very important that you are clear about it, because your scope is the exact task that you've already mapped out when you were planning and when you were conceptualizing the project. You've already mapped it out. You're already clear on it. But by the time a scope creep is coming, this is where your scope is now expanding. It's now changing, and it will directly impact your deadline. It would impact your delivery date, because you already planned that 50 dresses, I can make it by XYZ time. If it's now 60 dresses, or if it's now 100 more dresses, that's going to impact the time, that delivery date. So that delivery date has to change. So your project launch date has to change, or your deadline has to change. And then your budget also has to change. And as an entrepreneur, as a project manager, you must not be afraid to talk about the numbers. You must always look at the numbers and be able to communicate it, to say, because our scope has changed, then this is how it impacts the bottom line. This is how it impacts our budget. Our budget was 1 million before. Now we're at 1.5 because I have to pay overtime. I have to buy more fabric. I have to go to the market. There's a transportation cost that is involved. And so you have to be mindful of that, and also be able to let them know. If you also be able to, I say let them know, like, it's not your project. If it's your project, or if it's not your project, you have to weigh it. That if we're saying that, okay, our scope has increased, but we're not increasing the time. You've already advised, or your team has come back to you, sat down as a team, that, okay, our scope has increased. Okay, you now have to agree that we're going to increase our time, we're going to increase our deadline, and we're also going to increase our budget. You have to agree as a team. And if you're not able to move the time or increase your budget, then you also need to understand that certain parameters within your project's delivery will change. So like if your budget cannot increase, then that means quality will drop, because you will now go to a supplier that is going to give you cheaper things so that you can stay within that budget, right? You're also going to, and this also affects your time. Let them know that Quality will be affected if we cannot increase time, if we cannot increase budget. You have to agree this as a team, see if that works for you. If you are the project owner, then you have your business reputation that is at stake. You have your business reputation at stake, and you also have your customers, the people that are dependent on you, and all that are also at stake. So it's very important that you are mindful of the scope, how it impacts your time, and how it impacts cost. Everyone that gets it changed will impact the others. So it's very important that we do this, that we are mindful of this, because something that we tend to overlook as a lot, especially as entrepreneurs. When a client comes to you with we need to do this, they want to increase the budget, and they want to increase the scope, but because you're happy for the business, you say yes without doing the math. It's very important that you do the math before you agree to any scope change. On big projects, you would call all the stakeholders and let them know that this is now the new scope of the project. You would change your project charter as well, the brief. You would change it as well, that, okay, you have to update it, that this is the new scope, this is our new budget, this is the new time frame, just so that everybody is clear as well as to what it is where it is that we are. And so once we've now gone past our planning stage, we now come to executing. So everything that you were doing, all the admin work you were doing in your planning stage, all the writing down, the calculating, the talking with your teams, the calling your suppliers to get numbers. At your execution stage, this is now where you're pulling all the resources together. This is where everything now starts to shape up. This is where your team is now assigned their clear deliverables. They are given their go ahead. Okay, go and do this. You have called your supplier to say it's time to move. You make a down payment if you need to make a down payment, and things now start to come together. At this point in time as well, things can also creep up. That's how your supplier will say, actually, that fabric that you priced at 20K per yard, dollar don't go up. It is now 25K per yard. That already impacts your budget. And so you have to immediately communicate with your team, with your client, with your accountant. You have to come back to your drawing board and say, how are we going to do this? And also you come back to the drawing board and quickly deal with that. Ideally, in your planning stage and in your budgeting stage, you should already have thought about that dollar fluctuates, so price can go up. If by the time that you're calling, especially if there's a big time gap, you priced it in May, but you're not executing until August. By that time, the cost would have gone up. The cost may have gone up. And so when you are budgeting, it's very important that you have miscellaneous in there. And there's also a buffer that you put within your budget. Your miscellaneous is supposed to cover the things that come up that are not planned, or so any unplanned things that come up that you have to pay for, or discrepancies in pricing, changes in pricing like that. That's where your miscellaneous comes up from. And it's usually about 5 to 10% of your budget, of your total budget, that you put down for that. Let's say you're applying for funding. You wanted to buy a deep freezer. The deep freezer was 50K when you went to price it. By the time they finally release the funding, it's now 100K. How do you mitigate that? And also, those are the kind of things that you should have already put within your plan, that because you know that dollar goes up, there's market fluctuations. Either you have different suppliers, or you're already putting that in the initial offer that at this, if the funds are being released by XYZ date, costs may have changed. And so there has to be a line in your project charter, in whatever communications that you're having with your stakeholders, so that everybody is clear on that. But at this point in time, like I said, in your execution stage, you are now executing. It's very important that you are constantly empowering your team. You are constantly checking in. So it's important that you're having regular meetings. And your meetings don't have to be long. They can be a WhatsApp check-in. Where are you at on this? I know. I tend to do a lot of I use a calendar that sends out reminders to people and also the different people that I'm working with. So they're getting calendar reminders that this is what they're getting, emails or calendar reminders that you have a task that is due by XYZ, or when is it that it is due, or where are you on this task, so that we know if there are any bottlenecks. It's very important that you're clearing up bottlenecks immediately, just so, because remember, you have a deadline, you have an end date for your project. So every bottleneck has to be cleared up immediately. If a team is not communicating, you need to be, if you're having regular meetings, then you will know that these teams are not communicating, these people are not communicating, and you are very quickly helping people to navigate that. Remember, one of the core skills of a project manager, an entrepreneur project manager, is people management, time management, organizational management. You need to make sure that all the tasks are moving according to the timelines that we have them for, because you have a hard finish, you have a hard deadline that can't move. It shouldn't move. It must take a big thing for your deadline to move, for your close dates to move. It shouldn't be something that you change casually. And then from our executing stage, and we're still executing, you're executing all the way to your deadline, to the day that you actually submit the work. One of the big things, or a big thing about project management, is monitoring and controlling. And this is really just risk management. It's a big part of project management. There are no two projects that are the same. I was with the African Movie Academy Awards for 5 years as a project manager. Each year was different. Sometimes some of our suppliers will change, some of our vendors will change, but we try to keep the team the same as much as possible, because there's that institutional knowledge that everybody knows, which is that we know how everybody works. We know how the AMA works. So it's easier for us to keep working together. And that way it's easier for us to improve yearly every time we come back to that project. So that's also important for you as well when you are running projects. And I'm sure that you also notice it even in your businesses, that as you've worked with this, let's say marketing person, you work with this marketing person, you know how it is that they work, you like how they work, or they know how you work, they like how you work. So it's easier to continue working with the person, right? So that's your team that you are now pulling together and keeping structured. But the thing is that everybody changes, and that's the biggest thing about projects, and that's what makes projects so unique. That's what makes each year different. People change. The me of last year is not the same me now. The me of last week is not the same me now. We are constantly evolving, and that's one of the things that makes projects so unique. I know, even if you're working with the same team. And so you also have to be managing. And because I'm constantly evolving, there are also risks to me as an individual. There's a certain element of risk to me as an individual. If you are in an environment like Lagos, or how we were, I think it was like last year or earlier this year, when the dollar was just changing anyhow, and that would impact the cost of things. You go to the markets to buy something at one cost at 5K, you come back there literally the following week or this end of the same week, and the cost has doubled, and they'll tell you because dollar doubled. I'm like, all of that impacts. In this rainy season now, the power stations were having problems with there was a lot of flooding. That would impact businesses. That's a risk. So people that are having events in this season, physical events that you expect people to show up for, you have to plan rain and flood into your. That's a risk. If you are planning an event between June and July, rain and flood is a big risk that you must put within your plan. So in that kind of event, it's okay, are we going to do a physical event, or are we going to do a virtual event? Are we going to give both options so that if people can't make it here physically, can they join us online? Those are ways that you are now mitigating the risk, because my event needs to happen in July. Okay, it has to happen in July, but there's flooding in Lagos, so will people get there? There's traffic. Will people get there in time? So those are the things that you have to think about that. There's power outages. The power stations were getting flooded. So power has been going off. If your equipments are dependent on power, which a lot of us, our equipments are dependent on power, then how are you going to mitigate that? You need to have a generator. Do you have diesel for the generator? Has your generator been serviced to make sure that this workload, that it can handle it and it won't disappoint you within that time? Those are the kind of things that you have thought about during during your planning, not even the conceptualizing, during your planning. You have thought about all the things that could go wrong. Now that you are executing, you are in the execution phase, these things can start to become a reality. And so you're constantly checking on those. You're keeping your eye on those. Is there power? Do we have enough power credit? Is the generator working? Has it been serviced? Do we have diesel? Did they warm it? Okay, so there's been lights. Have they warmed the generator to make sure that it is still okay and on standby? Those are the things that you need to be monitoring when you are now in execution stage. You need to monitor the people that are delivering the task, and then you need to monitor the risk as well. Which one is a high risk? Which one is a low risk? Budget, where are we on the budget? Those are the things that you need to monitor. Those are the things that you need to be controlling as a project owner, project manager. You need to be addressing the issues very quickly. Don't wait for the last minute. If your team comes to you with a problem, or if you can even visualize the problem, once you can visualize the problem that, hey, there can be a problem, you already start to come up with your plan B. And your plan B must have a plan C, so that you are ready to kick in plan B and adjust accordingly. It is very important to be able to adjust very quickly. It's very important that you are managing your risk, and you are always ready to kick into plan B or plan C. And it's very important to have cash on ground. That's miscellaneous cash that I talked about in your budget. It is very important that you have cash on ground, because somebody will come and say, oh, we forgot to print the paper. So you have to quickly go to the business, to a nearby business center. So this was something that used to happen at AMA Awards. So because we're working at an event venue for the night, then the production team will sometimes come ahead and say, oh, we forgot to print out our production plan, the plan for, sorry, the show flow, which is the agenda for the day, how the show is going to flow for the day. So as a project manager, whom the first time that I experienced it, I had to go and print at, in that year, we were working at Landmark. We were using Landmark Event Center in VI Oniru for the AMA Awards. And then the producer sent someone to me that they forgot to print out the show flow for the day, for the night. Event is starting. So we had to go into the Landmark office, beg them, that was me now, I had to go upstairs, beg them to please print this show flow for me. And it had to be in color. So the amount that they charged me, I was not happy. What did I do the following year? I brought a printer with me. I had a printer with me on ground, and trust them, they came again, that they did not print. It was either they didn't print it at all, or they didn't have the accurate number of show flows that they needed for the day. So I had my printer on ground with me. I printed it for them. That saved me money. That saved me time. That saved me the energy of going to beg someone to please allow me to print in their office. So that then became a thing. We just carried our printers with us for every event because anything can happen. And so that's what, so that was learning from mistakes from the previous year, but also in the following year, that was now us recognizing a risk and mitigating that risk, having a plan B and being prepared for it. And then after you have been monitoring, you have been executing, this is now where you now have your delivery dates. This is now your closing. So you deliver your products to you were commissioned to supply 50 dresses, 500 shoes by XYZ dates. The date has come. You have delivered them, well, nicely packaged to the customer. You've opened your kiosk. If your project was that you're opening a new kiosk in Ikeja, you have now opened your kiosk. You have done the launch. You've now started operating there. Project closed. So at this point, you are now paying your vendors their balance. As much as possible, don't pay vendors full price up front until they deliver to you complete is when you are paying them their balance. So like some vendors, and some of you might be vendors and you need to pay attention to this. Some vendors will want all their money up front because they're afraid that you may run away and not pay them. But that is them now wanting you to carry all the risk by yourself. They don't want to bear the risk that they may not supply you in full. And so you have to have a conversation with your vendors, with your suppliers, that I will pay you in full. Everybody agrees. And so you're paying them, if it's 50%, 75%, whatever it is that you agree at the start of the project. And then on delivery, it can be XYZ. Sometimes it's on delivery. Sometimes it's a week after delivery. You may work for some big organizations where they have like a number of days because of the bureaucracy in their own space. They have a number of days that they have to pay by the time you drop your final invoice, where they will pay your balance. So, all of that needs to be communicated from when you're having conversation with your supplier or with your vendor. It's not when they're expecting their balance that you now start saying, actually, we haven't collected the full the project money and we're waiting for accounts to disperse. Have that conversation with them as soon as possible. Be clear from the beginning that the budget on ground, or are we just raising the money, so that everybody is clear that the money is coming as we are going, or the money is on ground. By the time you deliver, you will get your balance. It's very important because it helps to build trust. And remember, I said that one of the ways you can mitigate risk is by working with the same team. If it's a regular project, or it can be a different project, but with similar skill sets. If you're working with the same set of people, like the same marketing team, the same admin person, the same operations person, if you're working with the same team, the same supplier, there's a relationship that builds, there's a trust that builds. It helps you to work together better. But if you keep moving goalposts on people, then you are losing trust. They would learn to not trust you. And that is not a good working environment at all. It would always impact your projects if your people cannot trust you. Your team needs to be able to trust you. Your suppliers need to be able to trust you. Your stakeholders need to be able to trust you that you will deliver what it is what you agreed to deliver. And so when you've now paid your people, you've settled them up, it is very important that as a team, you sit down and you talk about what happened, what was good and what was not good. The what was good is key because it helps you to encourage one another. We were commissioned to make 500 shoes by the 30th of August and we delivered it. Well done, team. That's very important to keep everybody motivated. Celebrate your wins. But it's also important to talk about what didn't go right. Our leather supplier, if you're making shoes, our leather supplier, he was supposed to supply the shoes on the 2nd of August. He didn't bring it till the 8th of August. How did that impact the production? We now had to work overtime just so that we could make the date. You need to talk about it. You need to be clear about it. You need to call out whoever it is that dropped a ball. Even if it's yourself as a leader, you need to be able to accept where you dropped the ball. Because what this does is that you learn from it. And that is how you get better. That's how your next project is going to get better. If you write it down, and I encourage you to always do a project report. Get your admin person, if you can't do it yourself, get your admin person to write a project report. Get your project manager to write a report and your project report will include your project charter, your brief, where you started from. It will include the plan. This is what we set out to do. It will include updates. This is actually what happened. And then it would include how you the risk that you had, and it would also include the risk. It would include the challenges that you encountered and how you resolved those challenges. It is very important because that starts to form your Bible. It starts to form your operational Bible for either this project in case you need to do it again, or another project as well. You read it, okay, this is what we went through, this is how we responded, and co. You learn from it, your team learns from it, everybody learns from it, and it helps you to do better next time. So that's that for you. So those are your 5 project stages. Every project must go through that. You must go through your conceptualizing and initiation stage, must go through your planning and budgeting stage, must go through your execution stage, and must go through a closing, a proper closing. You must have a proper closing. I know. So now at this point, I want to talk briefly about the kind of tools that you can use. I know, because it's not like, okay, how do I manage all of these things that she's talking about? How am I going to do this? I'm just an entrepreneur. There are many free tools that you can use for your projects. most of the tools that I use are free. I look for the free version of it. The first space that I start with is Google. So Google has been good to us with the Google Drive, where you have a Word, you have Google Word, you have the Excel sheets, you have even presentation slides and co. So in your Excel sheet, in your Word, type up your Google, your charter, your project charter. This is the brief. This is what we're doing. In your Excel, you put down your timelines, you put down all your tasks, you put down everything that you are doing. You use that for your budgeting. One of the things that I tend to do, depending on the project, I'll use one Excel sheet, one Excel document, and then the different sheets for the different different things. So one sheet is for tasks, and under that task, I've written the task. There's a column for task. There's a column for who it is assigned to. There's a column for the date that it is due. Sometimes there's a column for the date that it was assigned. And then there's updates. So there's a column for notes and updates. So any notes, any updates that when we're having our meeting, so we're constantly talking through that task sheet. If there are new tasks that come along, you just insert another row into that into where the task, if you bunched up your task according to its operations, its marketing, its stage, whatever it is, you've bunched them up. So under the new, wherever the new task is supposed to be, you include a new line as to where your task should be. In Google Sheets now, they even have project templates where, as you are entering there's a column for the task, there's a column for who it is assigned to, and you can literally put in their email address and then send them an email. It will send them an email from there. You can connect it to Google Calendar so that they're also getting reminders. You have their emails, everybody's getting a reminder as to when it is that we have meetings, when it is that they have tasks that are deliverable. And also Google is your friend. You can use the Google spreadsheets, use the Google Excel. Like I was saying, in that same that same Excel sheet, one is for task, another one is for budgets. We put the budgets in there as well. Another one is for risk. Another sheet is for the risk. It's also in there so that everything is in one place. It's not hard for you to look for what it is that you need. So you want to keep things simple as much as you can. There are other tools that you can use like Asana, like Trello and co. Pick what works for you. Some of them also have like like a free tier that you can put in the task and it will send emails to whoever it is, and it will send them daily emails until the day that they complete the task. They will have to click that they have completed the task, and then they will stop getting those emails. And also, it's very important that you use simple tools for your projects, and as in keep it simple. Okay, sorry, I seem to have, sorry, my screen is now doing stuff that only it understands. Okay, so now the other thing that I wanted to the other thing that hello, can everybody hear me? So I was just looking at the chat and I'm seeing I can't
Yes, we
hear
can hear
her. I
you.
don't know. Okay, and the slides
Okay, I
were
think
moving.
that's yes, but it's no longer displaying.
Yeah, it's no longer showing. I'm going to go to it now. I had to stop because it was doing something that I didn't understand. So I'm going to reshare now. We're almost done. Just need to I'm sorry. Okay, so now this is where we're mapping for business scale, because, and the idea of this is that for every business, or for the scale of your business, there are different, you don't need to make things complex. And also, if you're running a small business, actually, let's do a little thing. Can everybody in the task, in the chat box, just put in, if you're running a small business, like one to three, 1 to 3 teammates, 1 to 3 staff, use an emoji, use like a thumbs up. And then if you have like 4 to 10 staff members, use like a fire sign. And then if you have like a medium-sized business of 11 to 50, use like a what can we use for that one now? Great, you can hear me. Okay, so I want to see like emojis or reactions, just so I know how many people, what kind of businesses. Okay, so thumbs up is micro businesses, 1 to 3. Okay, do we have any small businesses? You can use a fire sign. And then any large businesses, you can use like a prayer sign, like, those two hands coming together. Okay, so far I'm seeing thumbs up. Abimbola, what's a nano? What's nano? Is that nano is small or big? Give me a thumbs up. So the reason for this is, and because I just want to sort of put it in perspective, because sometimes it might sound, everything that I've said might sound like, okay, what's all of this? And how are you going to implement this or execute this? And also, like, for a solo business, idea space for your business. Okay, that's cool. And you can now use all this project management mindset that we've talked about to actually apply it to the bigger picture of your business, until it then becomes something that is now operations. And then you now go into operations phase, and then you can now move into, when you now have specific projects, again, now use this for smaller projects. But it's very important that you have this kind of mindset, even as you're starting your business. So well done to you. So if you are running like a micro business, small business, and all, the kind of projects that you're most likely thinking, working on, as like you're sourcing and buying like a deep freezer, or you're buying equipment, you're setting up at the trade fair for next week. That's a project for you. And so if you are setting up for like next week's trade fair, that the fund is having, you have to plan it. What do I need for that day? What is the size of my booth? What am I going to showcase at my booth? What are my goals for this showcase? I know for some people, it's to sell more products. For some people, it's to gather data from interested customers. So it might not necessarily be the sales that you make on that day. It's the number of emails and phone numbers that you collect. So that's business awareness. And if you are clear on what your goals are for the showcase, now we're using showcasing at the trade fair. If you are clear on your goals for the showcase, it's going to feed into how you display. So if your goal is to sell products, that means that you need to have a sizable number of products on hand with you at the fair to be able to sell, right? And if, let's say, you're selling food, you're selling food, let's say you're selling ice cream, that means you need to have, that feeds into the size of the freezer that you're going to have there for the quantity of ice cream that you're going to sell at the place. That feeds into, does my booth have electricity? Where is the electricity points? Do I need an adapter? Do I need an extension? How long should the extension be? It sounds like okay, that's a lot of information, but it's necessary information. I've seen people at booths, I've seen entrepreneurs at booths at trade fairs when during the setup space. Like I said, I used to do a wellness trade fair, a wellness fair. And at that, we had different vendors that were selling, healthy, healthy products. And some people will come and they did not bring extension with them. Meanwhile, you know that you need to plug in, you need power for what it is that you're doing. Or they would not communicate to us that they needed power in their booth. And then on the day when we've assigned them to a space where there is no power in that section, they now start telling us, actually, we need power, but you didn't communicate this. And also, if you are clear on what it is, and this is now your conceptualizing phase, you are clear that, okay, I'm going there because I want to sell products. It feeds into the number of products that you decide on the number of products that you're taking with you. It feeds into how it is that you're going to display your products, how you're going to preserve your products. It feeds into your general, and the kind of questions that you'll be asking the fair organizers for your product, for your booth, so that you have a good experience. If your focus is brand awareness and gathering customer data, then that feeds into the kind of things that you are going to take there. Your focus might not be on taking many products. You can just have some products that are for display for people to be able to get a feel of. You can sell some, but it's really to display. It will also mean that your display products must not be sold. So if you run out of products, display products must not be sold, because this is what we're now showing people as our sample. We can't sell that. We're here for brand awareness. It also means that you must have a way that you are collecting data. How am I going to collect data from the people that visit me? Is it that they're going to write it down on a sheet of paper or in a book? Or am I going to have a computer where they would type in, where I will type in their email addresses? Or will I have a QR code that I will just print out and put it there, and then they will scan it and just enter their email addresses straight up? As someone that has been in that space, please, there's nothing I find worse and as unprofessional as having people to write down their email addresses themselves and their phone number. Because by the time people write it down, you cannot read their email addresses. You're like, is this an I or a T? Is this a B or a G? I've been there. I've taken manual email addresses and phone numbers, and then when we're now trying to digitalize it, we can't read half of it. We can't read their names. We can't read what they've written. People's handwriting is just different. And then by the time you even do the sheets, you've given them small space. So they're squeezing to write in there. So best to have a digital way. QR codes are a good way that you can get them to just quickly, while they are there, and keep that form. If you're using a QR code, remember that it's a high traffic place. So you have to also think about customer experience. How is it that they're going to, that if I'm trying to get their data from this high traffic environment with different other booths calling for their attention? So my form must be as quick as possible, where when they scan it, they see, they put their name, their email, their phone number. Bam, that's it. It's not the place where you are going to ask them 50 questions, 30 questions. There's no need. Keep it as minimal as possible. And also, these are things that you should tackle during your conceptualizing and initiating stage, so that when you get to the planning stage, you are now planning, what does my QR code look like? What does my booth look like? What size of freezer am I getting? That's where all of those start to come in place. Your execution stage, you're now calling your designer, your graphic designer. Oh yeah, start designing. You are calling your freezer supplier. Oh yeah, supply. You are sending somebody to the market to go and buy you extension cable. If you have one that is not so long, get a long one. That's where you put all of that in place, because you're also mindful of cash. So as a small business owner, you want to keep things light. You want to keep things moving, because you are likely to be the project manager and the project owner as one, and you're still running a business. So you want to keep things moving. You want to keep things simple. Have a notebook where you're writing things down on the go. As much as we all have our devices, they run out of battery. And sometimes when you are writing, there's science that has, there's research that proves that the actual task task of writing down makes a difference. It changes your brain. You are more likely to remember the thing that you wrote down than the thing that you typed down. So having a notebook and having your team members to have notebooks and writing things down is very important. I've seen people going to the markets. You want to go and buy a number of things. You do not write down the things you are going to buy. You are hoping that when you get to the market, you will remember, or you are hoping that when you get to the market, you will look through your phone. Meanwhile, your way there, you didn't charge your phone. There was no light. Your phone dies. Then you're stuck. So simple things like this, it sounds simple, but when you're in the middle of a project execution, things are moving fast. It's fast paced. So you want to move quickly. Okay. Set reminders on your phone. Use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is also a great tool for you to use as a business owner. Okay, I'm trying to. So now if we go to the medium-sized businesses, again, we're still scoping our businesses, medium-sized entrepreneurs and all, your project type it may be something more like, okay, you're coming up with a new product line, you are executing a bulk delivery and co. So in this case, you want to make sure that, because you're now working with you're likely to be working with different teams, different people. You're not the all in all, that is the accountant, the operations person, the admins person, the marketing person. Now in the medium enterprise, you have different people that are going to be doing different things. And so it's very important that you are using a spreadsheet and everybody has access to that spreadsheet. Google is great for that. You can share sheets. People can join you on that sheet. And then everybody understands what it is that they are supposed to be doing. Everybody can see their tasks. You are also managing the risk. You are keeping involved with people. You are monitoring people. You become their monitoring spirit. You are monitoring people and checking in on them. Where are you on this task? How are you on this task? How is this going? Because at this point in time, it's not just you. If it's just you that you're managing, or 2 or 3 people, it's easier. But by the time you're managing more people for your project, the stakes are higher. And so your tools would also change the way that you're using things. You use Excel. You should use Excel more. You should document more. And you should have more meetings, regular meetings for that. That's for the large one. Same thing with the medium size or small business, where it's 4 to 10 employees, you're delegating, you're tracking. It's very similar to the medium sized business as well. WhatsApp, we're all good with our WhatsApp groups. So that's also a good thing that we can do. that we can use. So in closing, in rounding up, and just sort of pulling all of this together, I know that when to have a flawless execution for your project, for any project that you're doing, you have to first off with defining your project goals, your project scope. You have to have your project structure. You need to have a clear plan. You need to have a clear budget. You need to have clear milestones. What needs to be done by when for me to be able to make this deadline? Adeo, did you want to write your question in the chat? We'll come to it real quick once I go through the slides. The second one is identify the right. It's important that you identify your tools very early on. And know the tools that you need. Is it Excel is it Google that we're using? Set up a Google folder for this project, and all the documents that you need for that project are in there. Even if it's something like I'm registering my business, that's a project. I need to register my business by XYZ date. Give it a date, because there are different things you need to pay for, things you need to find documents, all of that. Everything comes into one folder and you keep it there. The next day that the employment fund come to you and say, okay, so we need XYZ documents, they're all in one folder. You know how to pull it out. And another important thing for clear execution is having assigning roles. Know who is doing what. Don't just assume. Put a name to it and put a date to when it is that they must finish that task. And then follow up with them. Hold everybody accountable. Everybody must be accountable, and you must check in on them frequency. How far, where are we with this? Where are we on that? You need to be checking in on them. And then when issues arise, when you're checking on your risk, and when issues arise, deal with it quickly. Deal with it quickly. Don't be that leader that your people cannot come to. Don't be that leader that they can't ask questions. Don't be that leader that does not respond. Don't be that leader that shouts. Take whatever it is that has happened, whatever feedback it is that you are getting. Oh, this problem has come up, that problem has come up. During the project is not when you want to be shouting at your team members. Oh, how dare you forget the printer in the office? Now is not the time to shout. Now is the time, because when you are shouting, you're losing energy, you're losing focus. Instead, in that moment, okay, what do? We forgot the printer, but we need printed papers. Is there a business center around? How do we print? That's your focus. Stay on the ball, stay on the task, stay on the project. Don't get distracted. And then monitor progress and then adjust. Stay flexible, adjust. Adjust as the issues come up. Okay, I don't know if we still have time for this, but we have finished. Do you have any questions? If there are no questions, then we can go into the task. But any questions? Do you had your hand up?
Thank you so much, Oyinkansola, for such a very insightful session. I'm very sure we have questions. I can see a question in the Q&A box. Please, if you know you have a question, please kindly drop it in the Q&A box so that we don't miss out on it in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, it's really not a question. I think it was when the slides weren't moving. And
Okay.
that was justified. But do we have questions? Please, if you know, I can see someone's hands raised. Please, you can drop your question in the Q&A
Adeyanju,
box so that we can. Adeyanju Adewumi, I can see your hand is raised. Please, can you drop your question in the Q&A box, please?
please drop your
And do
questions.
we
So it's not
have,
good if you don't have questions.
please, do we have questions? Drop your questions in the Q&A box so that these questions can be attended to. And let me check our other platforms if we have questions on there.
Adeyanju is asking about the loan. Adeyanju, this is not the time to be asking about loan. This
No,
question is about project manager.
there was no form filled as to how much you loan. There was no such form filled. The only form that we have
The
is
the
the
poll at
poll
the beginning.
that was displayed on your screen. Aside from that, there was no form that was filled. I don't know where you got that information from, if you can clarify. Please, if we have questions, you can drop it in the Q&A box. I'm trying to look through our LinkedIn page and our Facebook page. Okay, I have a question. Someone is asking what is so. Could you explain it as
What is
it was
so?
written? Yes, the person said it was written on the slides. That's SOW.
Yeah, slow is let me see. That had to do with the scope script. Let me see. So had to do with scope. It's the scope, operations, and work constraints. Let me just check that again. Let me just quickly check. Not sure. Oh, sorry. So a statement of work. So is a statement of work. I can't remember which slide it was on, but that's part of like it's like your project charter. So it has your project purpose. So what is this project about? What is the purpose? What is the objective? It has your scope. So your detailed scope as to what is it that we're going to cover during this project. So it's a breakdown of all your deliverables, the breakdown of all the tasks and all the outcomes that are included in the project. And then also it has your timelines and it has your milestones. So that's what your soul is. Let's see. So that's your project charter. I hope that has answered your question. It has your brief, contains everything that has to do with the project, from the scope to the milestones. It's basically your statement of work.
So I hope that answers your question. Um, so please, do we have any more questions? I can't seem to find questions on our other platform.
Okay, I've seen it. I don't know if that means that I hope you understood everything that was shared. Because sometimes they say that if you don't have questions, it may be that you did not understand. I know. Farouk is asking if we can have the templates, please. I actually have a handout that I will share. I will share with Omotaya. They can email it to everyone that signed up for this. Did everybody sign up, right? So I will share that. I will share that with her. And also in the handouts, you would there's a template for a project plan, my project plan, or my project action plan. Just a little, it's a little blank sheet for you to use to just help write down, get you started on your projects, writing your project plan or crafting your project plan. And then it also includes some of the tools that I mentioned that you can use, like Trello, Google, and all, and how use them. So I will share that with I will share that with Tim Tai after the session so she can email it to you. Any other question?
Okay, I think we have another question. Oh, okay. Okay. We don't have any other question. Please, if you have questions, please can we ask? Or we call it a day on today's session. Okay, since we don't have any other questions, but if we do have questions, Madam Onyeko, Onyeko Sola, please can you drop your contact details in the chat box for those that might want to reach out?
Okay. How will those
Could
on
be maybe
social media see it?
address.
Those on LinkedIn and
I,
co.
I will I will call it out. I will call it out.
Okay, I've shared my email address.
Okay, so we have
If
it as oytalabi@gmail.com. That is oytalabi@gmail.com. For those that are joining us on our other platforms, I repeat, oytalabi@gmail.com. And for those that probably join us halfway, or for those that join us that join us from the very beginning but would like to have an opportunity to go back to this session, you can go to our YouTube channel. We'll have the recording on there for you to go back and rewatch. So you will definitely be able to pick up one or two things that you might have missed during the live session. So thank you so much, Onyeko, for taking our time of your busy schedule to take us through today's session. We really appreciate you uh, taking
Thank
us
you.
through today's session. I'm very sure our participants learned a whole lot from today's session, from the appreciation in the chat box. Thank you so much, everyone, also
Thank
for
you.
taking our time to
Yeah.
attend today's session, taking out time off your busy schedule. And we apologize for exceeding the 2 hours assigned for today's session, but I'm very sure we all picked up a whole lot from the session. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you also to all our attendees joining us on our social media platform. We look forward to having you. We'll be having a session next week. Please be on the lookout. Check our social media platforms so that you don't miss out on the next sessions that we'll be having. And also for those that are interested in the fashion program, you can go to our YouTube you can go to our social media platforms to get it, but I would also drop the link for those I know for the benefit of those that probably might not be able to see it because they're joining us on all our other social media platforms. I will do you the honors of calling it out. So I have it posted already in the chat box. For those that have words or you are within the age of 18 to 35 and you like to participate in this fashion training in partnership with our partners at 360 Hub. So you have the link dropped there. As soon as you apply, they will reach out to you with further details on how you can start your training. So for those joining us, you can go to bit.ly/UPLIFT That is bit.ly/uplift creative uplift creative. So for those that want to benefit from that, you can click on that. And also for those that would be interested in joining our access to markets. So if you're interested in joining the access to markets that will be coming up, you know, that will be coming up next week. We're starting on Thursday. It's going to be a 3-day event, Thursday 30th of July to the 1st of August. So please do check our social media platform for the link to apply so that you don't miss out on the Access to Market initiative that we're bringing to you as at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Thank you so much once again, everyone. We look forward to having you next week for all of the sessions that we have in store for you, from our advisory session to our masterclass to our access to market events. So please follow us on all social media platforms. We are Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. We are on Instagram, we're on X, we are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Turn on your post notification, and we look forward to having you at our subsequent sessions. Thank you so much, Madam Oyinko, once again, and do enjoy the rest of your day.